Welcome back to the WAC podcast. I'm Kendra Sheehan, now joined by UTRGV women's volleyball head coach Todd Lowery. Todd, thank you so much for joining the show. And the Vaqueros are in a bit of a win streak, winning 4 games in a row and sweeping all of those opponents. What do you like about this team so far?
Yeah, thanks for having us on. I think the thing that's the most exciting about this team is just their continuous growth. I feel like we're getting better. And as we came into this season, we knew with a whole bunch of new faces on the roster and a whole bunch of first contact being brand new, that we were going to have some ups and downs. And I thought we started the season really well. And then we were just on the road through preseason so much. I felt like we identified some problems and weren't really able to address them because I just felt like we weren't getting enough practice time. But as we settled into WAC play and a consistent schedule, that I just felt like the girls have gone back into the gym and really gone to work and worked on the things that we've been talking about. And some of that's the defensive effort and keeping balls alive and cleaning up our offense a little bit. But those are the things that I think we've talked about working on. And I think those are the things that have steadily improved over the last 3 or 4 matches.
Last year, you were the WAC Coach of the Year. What you guys were able to do last year, a lot of those same players are returning this year. How much growth have you seen in those players that have returned to help guide this team and get back to the postseason championship?
Yeah, some of those kids that played a huge role for us last year, obviously Luana, Louisa, and Paris and Margarita, and even Claudia to an extent. Like, I felt like those kids continue to improve. And I think Paris has had an amazing start to the season. And I think sometimes she goes a little unnoticed, and then all of a sudden you look up and she's hitting 500 and has 11 kills on not very many swings. So what she's been able to do, I think, just continues to impress. And she's just gotten better every single year that she's been here. She's been a starter every year, but her impact for what she provides to the team is just grown every year. And then I think this is the best Louisa that we've seen in her time at UTRGV. I think she's completely healthy for the most part and was able to really push herself in the spring and has had a great start. And I think Luana just becomes more and more comfortable every year. And I think that just extends the things that she does that are so out of the ordinary as far as what a traditional setter does. And I think that creates so much pressure on other teams. And I think she's just grown, like, maturity wise. And I mean, she's always been phenomenal on the court, but that comfortability with the system and her comfortability to have the space to do those things that are kind of unorthodox has made her really hard to stop this year.
When you look ahead at your future schedule, you're going to host Grand Canyon and
Cal Baptist.
CBU. Grand Canyon, Stephen F. Austin, the only 2 teams that are ahead of you in the standings right now. What's so important about having Grand Canyon come into your facility and be able to take care of business in this next one?
Yeah, I mean, it's one that we definitely have start on the calendar. And we knew coming into the year that this weekend would be a big weekend. We haven't had Grand Canyon here in the regular season in a while, just with the shifting schedules and everything that's worked. So we're kind of excited to get them on our home court and have a real shot at them. And, obviously a super talented team. The job Tim's done there has just been this steady progression to where they just are better and better every year. And I think what makes them tough is that there's some good depth on that team. So if somebody has an off night, you don't feel like you're going to get a break just because somebody has a bad night. And so I think that's going to be a challenge for us, is like, we're going to really have to take care of our side of the court and put a lot of pressure on them, knowing that we're probably not going to break somebody down on that team, because if we do, they're just going to put somebody else in and they're just as good as whoever they're going to take off the court. So I think that'll be our challenge against GCU, but obviously a really good team and a well-coached team and somebody we always enjoy playing against. So I think it's going to be a fun match here on Thursday night.
When you look at some of those key players that you had mentioned before, Paris Key currently leads the team in kills. How does having a player like that who can just elevate their game and be able to score so many points and shift the momentum of matches help elevate the rest of the players around them? When you see Paris getting, 11 plus kills, how does that help bring the level of her teammates up as well, trying to rise to that level?
Yeah, I think the thing that her ability to score at a high level and a high efficiency this year, what it's really done is it's taken pressure off of some of the other girls, and by people having to commit a little bit more to Paris, it's given some other people some good space on the court, and I think people want to step up and they want to score, and they're like, okay, there's 2 blocks. There's been nights where people have committed 2 blocks to Paris all night long, and our outsides are like, okay, we got to step up and we got to get it done because we got a single block out here. And so they do. They want to rise to the occasion and support her when it's, when the defense decides to try to take her away, then they're like, we have to step up and do our job. So there's that self-awareness on our team that they know what's kind of happening, what the other team's trying to take away from us, and when they need to step up. So it's been really good.
Is there a player that has stepped up more especially with conference play starting up, that you didn't necessarily expect, but really provided that spark off the bench that you were looking for?
Yeah, I think Julia Bryant's come in at times and has given us something special in the middle, and she's going to be a special player for sure before she leaves here. And just as a freshman, I mean, she comes in and like just hits the first ball she's in, like Luana sets her and she hits just rockets like right out of the gate. And I think that's been unique. It's definitely turned the momentum for us in several games or sets where we've been tight, and she can literally just go in and get 2 or 3 points on 2 or 3 swings. And that's unique off the bench. But as a true freshman, I think she's starting to make a bigger impact. And then I think Alana has settled down in conference play more than she was in preseason. And I thought she's passing the ball better, much, much better. And that's allowed us to stay in system a little bit more. So those two, as far as conference play, I think have kind of elevated. Everybody else is still doing a good job.
How much more commanding of the offense has Luana become this year, as she's just really in charge of facilitating those plays and getting the balls where they need to be?
Yeah, I think she's in just complete control at this point this year. I think she's comfortable with all the hitters. Like you said, I think our first contact is basically all new from last year. But as far as those key hitters, they're all back from last year, other than probably Alana and Nadine. So just her comfortability with everybody and doing unique things. And they're like, okay, we got to be ready all the time. Like, if somebody gives her the free ball, she's probably going to set us on 2, and those kind of things, those risks that she's willing to take. I think that's probably the biggest thing that we see this year. She's willing to take a lot more of those type of risks because she's comfortable, one, with our staff being like, okay, go for it. Like that's what makes you, that's what makes her hard to stop. And also teammates around her that are just like, okay, I got to be ready all the time, or I'm going to look bad and she's going to let me know that I made her look bad. So I think it's been fun. It's been fun to watch in the gym.
Lastly, anything that you're focusing on in practice, just to fine tune, clean up, as we're just a little bit over a month out from our tournament?
Yeah, I feel like we've really like focused in on our serve receive. We feel like, I mean, if we can keep the ball in Luana's hand somewhere close to the net, then we're going to give our opportunities to score points. So cleaning up our serve receive and the number of passes that we can pass perfect instead of just putting up somewhere. And same thing on the transition defense. We feel like we got some work to do on the block, and I think they're starting to trust the defense and the block and defense working together instead of independently. And I thought we saw a pretty good job of that against Utah Valley. I thought we dug a lot of balls to target that allowed us to get into a good transition offense. So those have been the focuses, and that's where we kind of feel like that we need to improve to give ourselves a shot in the tournament.
Thank you so much, Coach Lowery, for being on. That is Todd Lowery, the head women's volleyball coach at UTRGV. You can catch the Vaqueros in action this Thursday as they host Grand Canyon, a 6:30 p.m. Central Time tip on ESPN+. Thank you for listening to the WAC podcast.